The city of St. Louis is banking big on a plan to combat violent crime. $7 million of your tax dollars will be spent on a program called Cure Violence. It's a model already adopted by other cities across the country, including Kansas City.
But the question is, does it really work? News 4 investigator Chris Nakis looks at what we can expect.
So this is one of the most dangerous parts of the city.
Absolutely, no question about it.
On a cold night, Salahuddin Abduwali drives around looking for trouble.
Somebody that we can engage to
Not to cause it, but to stop it.
do some intervention with.
As an employee of the Kansas City Health Department, his job is anything but
A
conventional.
lot of activities going on out here.
Just ask his boss.
Are you guys violence interrupters?
That's one of the titles that we've described ourselves as.
Rashid Junad oversees Cure Violence, which is coined Aim for Peace in Kansas City. What's happening on these streets will soon happen in St. Louis.
What do you think we can do better in our community?
People like Abduwali hope to stop things like retaliation after a murder,
see what we do.
which means intervening with those who might cause a future crime.
What's going on?
How do you guys get that information?
We have credible messengers that we recruit and deploy in the community.
This is the community raised man.
Those messengers include people like Abduwali.
I work for the health department, Aim for Peace Violence Prevention.
He openly talks about his past.
I did go to prison for burglary, robbery, and armed criminal action. I was 23 years old.
Out here, it gives Abduwali street cred.
Yeah.
And it helps that he has a likable personality.
Thank y'all, man.
As we toured one of the most dangerous parts of the city, it was clear. Have you heard of Aim for Peace?
Of course I have.
People out here know him.
We've been through some trials and tribulations together. As a matter of fact, he actually stopped me from getting into some more trouble at one point in time.
Yeah, I did.
Explain that to me. What happened?
Well, I was having an argument with someone, and they happened to catch it before it got out of hand.
Just like St. Louis, there's a sense of desperation on these streets.
I have lost my closest friends, 2 close friends this year. I had both male. I have lost both of them
To gun violence?
to gun violence, yes.
Let's talk about it.
Abduwali doesn't carry a weapon. He's prohibited as a city employee. Instead, he's armed with information about job resources and talk of better choices. His crew actively approaches people on street corners and crowded bus stops.
So what are the solutions to the violence in the community?
Glamorizing violence.
Make no mistake, he is not a police officer. He is focused on stopping violence,
We're going to kill everything in our way,
but
and you're going to spend the rest of your life in prison.
not lesser crimes.
So you don't want to get in the way of people out here hustling on this corner. Even though it's an irony, our job is not to break that up.
And by hustling, you mean drugs?
Selling drugs, whatever you out here doing on this corner that could be classified as illegal. Our job is not to get in the way of that.
Does it work?
The research record on Cure Violence is mixed, I would say at best.
UMSL criminologist Rick Rosenfeld says more research needs to be done in cities across the nation to determine if Cure Violence is effective.
Are you optimistic that it's going to do well here in St. Louis?
I'm hopeful. I think optimistic might be a little strong, but I am certainly hopeful, especially given the enormous cost.
In Kansas City, the health department provided these numbers. The numbers in red represent homicides going down in places where violence interrupters worked. The numbers in blue represent the number of employees like Abduwali out on the streets. More employees in a given area equaled fewer homicides. But there's another number that's impossible to ignore. Overall, Kansas City saw more homicides in 2019 than 2018.
In 2018, there were 139 homicides in Kansas City. 2019, more than that. Doesn't look like it's working.
If we wasn't there, then there would be more homicides. When the city was trending up in homicides, we were still either stable or trending down in the areas that we worked.
Junad is talking about the specific area of the city where interrupters are employed. According to the health department, shootings decreased in that part of the city between 2017 and 2018, as shootings spiked in other parts of the city where interrupters did not work. Abduwali doesn't hear about active crime scenes from the police. Those are places where emotions can run high. They don't call you when there's a homicide.
They don't. They don't call us when it's a homicide or when it's a shooting. But we still have hopes that we can broker a good relationship with the police.
Would it help you if they did?
Extremely.
In St. Louis, Cure Violence will also be overseen by the health department.
Will the police call the Cure Violence members and let them know about a homicide?
As far as how they interact with interrupters, that's something that we still have to figure out. We haven't fleshed out those protocols yet.
Should a program like this also comprise of working with the police?
I think so. I think so.
Rosenfeld isn't opposed to cure violence, but he favors a different approach, one called focused deterrence. That's when police focus their attention on known criminals and work directly with those offenders to prevent future violence.
That program has a substantial research base, and nearly every study has shown that when well implemented, it does reduce violence and other crime.
I asked St. Louis police if focused deterrence is worth exploring. They responded, "We do not have a comment. Cure violence is being implemented by the city." The health department doesn't take a stance.
I've heard the term before, but we haven't really grouped that into whether it's a public health term versus a law enforcement term.
The mayor's office envisions a cure violence program that works in conjunction with police. Back in Kansas City, Abdu Wali doesn't pretend to have all the solutions.
Great to see you. You got my contact. Hit me up anytime, man.
But he is willing to talk with anyone
It's really about what you know,
that will listen.
how you connect with people.
The mayor's office tells me Cure Violence will be up and running by April 1st, and it will target parts of several different neighborhoods, including Dutchtown, Walnut Park East and West, a portion of Hamilton Heights, and Wells Goodfellow. Dr. Eccles with the health department told me results will be evaluated. Of course, it's a program we will continue to follow. Chris Nagus, News 4 Investigates.